Record again.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Jesus.
Shout out to Sean Mooney. Just kidding.
I guess that must be something new they have. It used to be unlimited free for one-on-one. You only had to pay if you did like one, two or more, three or more people. I wonder if they changed something or if it just, then it said they wanted me to sign in or something, but I think I am signed in.
It signed me right in after it said that, so I don't know, but it's working.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it. I don't know if another 40 minutes if we'll do it again. So if we're on
Don't worry
another
about
40
it,
minutes.
I'm probably the loosest, chillest dude you'll ever meet, man.
Okay, cool. Me too. I don't worry about that stuff, but I hate, I'm taking you guys' time up. So
I don't have much to do today, but I work in mostly right now. I work in the cannabis industry in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean I'm considered a nerd in that industry, which I found out from other nerds, which was probably one of the biggest honors I've ever had, just being considered someone who knows their stuff about it, and more so than just I know how to roll a J and hang out and listen to rap music and stuff, but I would do that as well. That's my background, but I'm actually considered kind of a nerd in the industry, and it's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you grow? Or
oh no, I'm not green thumb. I'm more on the business side. I've worked from the retail end all the way to HR, back to like the very shortly in the shipping stuff as well, like the inventory management. They just know I have a passion. I have a ton of knowledge, a lot of contacts, a lot of friends in it from the ground up. So it just, they consider me kind of a nerd. I know all the ins and outs and the science of it. I just I don't touch the plants. The poor things don't need me to ruin their day. You know what I mean? So they know I love them, though. I tell them every time I go in the grow room, I go, hey, I love you guys. And they all love me back when I smoke them. So it's always a good time.
Well, that's cool.
Yep. Probably why I'm not in much pain. I know a lot of wrestlers, I have a backache, sometimes a headache, but I'm probably 80% less pain because of my relationship with medical marijuana.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm going through it right now, going through back problems and like nerve damage and all that stuff right now myself. So
I can help you with that as well. At least tell you what direction to go in if you ever decide to start that journey.
Really? Well, I do it, but I do it on a down low type way.
That's okay. That's okay. It's legal where you live, man. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't go to
I'm so big
and all that. Put it that way.
I've talked to congressmen about it. I don't care. I'm like, Congressman Sanford in South Carolina came to an event that I was a board member on down there. And I cussed him when I met him. And I said, I don't know if it's a family friendly show or not, but, I said, what the fuck are you doing here to him? Coming through a foggy parking lot where all of us are all hammered at this oyster roast down there. And I got his attention, to say the least. We talked a little bit about why marijuana should be legal. And he kind of just, yeah-ed me. But Tim Scott as well, Senator Tim Scott, had conversation with him and his entire crew down there about it over lunch. So pretty cool. I really care about that.
Yeah, I think it's great the strides they're making with it, because it's a great plant and a great thing, and it does marvelous things in many ways, mentally, physically, everything, and shirts and rope, and you can use it in 100 million different ways.
It was put on earth for us, for sure.
So, they're idiots for not using it for all these years, because our forefathers sure as hell used it.
They had a preference for a different type of green. That's all.
Right.
It's all good though, man. We're making strides every day. The politics are changing. I moved up here for family reasons. My wife's from Pittsburgh. I wanted my son, he's 5 years old, to have his grandparents with him. I figured that'd be really beneficial to them as well. I have family up here as well. So just kind of wanted to come up here, and marijuana was an opportunity I jumped into with both feet, and pretty good success.
I used to do reports on in high school. I did a report how we could fix the deficit if we legalized it. Like, this is back in the 80s, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Because I'm older than you, obviously.
You bold SOV, you, man.
Yeah. About how we could fix the deficit if we taxed it and made it legal. My teachers were half were impressed and half were pissed off. I mean, needless to say, it went around in the teachers' lounge and everything. Teachers were pulling me aside that weren't even to do with that class, talking about it.
Fight the good fight, Chops.
Oh, I was back then,
No,
Yeah,
it's
I'd
great.
like to think it helped today.
I hope so. It did. All those little baby steps of someone being bold actually do. Like I'm very open about it because I'm considered a pretty upstanding citizen here. Like I'm not considered some loud rebel, crazy guy that's trying to ruin everything. Like I give and help in the community around here, especially, but I'm very open about my cannabis use. It's more of an education stigma thing, and if they see me, who they were just respectful to, inviting me to lunch in their homes and their kind of BS country club life, and they find out I'm a cannabis advocate, what's wrong with me? I'm the same guy. I just represent cannabis a little bit. So it's kind of cool when you shock people in a good way.
It's not legal there.
Medical is, and I
Medical.
have a medical card and I'm a medical advocate, but I'm also a recreational advocate. I think it's absurd. I actually am happy they don't do it because they don't tax it right yet under medical, and they tax it under recreational. So I'm saving a buttload of money just using it for medical. So I'm not in much of a rush, but it is available. And honestly, without even lying about it, doctors can help you with it because it helps you so many things, actually helps you. There's so many different things that it can do for somebody that's in pain or just needs help.
Well, it's just insane. I did another report on the comparison of how do you look at alcohol, back in the day and legalize that, and then look at marijuana and make that illegal, and then look at cigarettes and make cigarettes illegal, alcohol's legal. No, not marijuana. You know what I mean? Like, what good are you getting out of cigarettes? I'm a smoker too. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this.
I agree. I mean, that's really the only substance I mess with. I mean, I've been known to party. I mean, I'm a Bobby Biggens pro wrestler. My partying days, I never got into hard drugs. Never did blow in my life. I don't know if you remember him. He used to be part of Elements of Suicide back in the day. His name was Ruckus. He was around before Riot. Old school. He partied back in RDW with me every Saturday, and he told me, Biggens, I don't want you to do coke because you're going to think you're Superman and never want to come down. And I was a teenager then. So I can really thank him. I partied early with that kid. All of us did. Like, we all partied together. It was wrestling. We were all kids and we had fun. But he kept me away from doing really stupid things when I was very vulnerable, which was great. I can't thank him enough. And by the way, talking about talent, man, he never did anything major pro. God, I mean, that kid could do any acrobatic stunt there is, and he had the balls to do it. I can thank him up and down. If I would have ever made anything of myself in wrestling, he had a lot to do with how brave I was to try stuff and the confidence level being on high. But great guy, man. Great good times back in the day.
What would you say is your biggest or fondest memory of Yankee Pro?
Oh man, it's actually a really bad day for someone else, but Pat Masters one show broke his foot, like actually shattered his foot. And he was my best friend there is on earth. And I kayfabed out and went and helped him to get him to where we needed to. When we got to the curtain, I had to carry him with all of our bags and his broken foot. He couldn't tell his parents. His parents would have killed him. So a lot of wrestlers, especially Portuguese heritage, would hide the fact that they were wrestling. That's very well known. And I had to carry him, our bags and everything. We had fans outside going, what the hell is Biggens and Pat doing, or IQ doing out there? And we ended up having to like hang out, get pizza, chill after the show. It was like the only time we ever left a show early. Because we would always sit and watch. And that's probably the most memorable thing. Other than that, man, I had a lot of fun with Mikey B. I sat in the locker room with Mikey B. I haven't talked to him since 2004, probably. But man, like, he was such a funny dude, such a cool guy. We had so much fun going on road together. Frankie Vane, Chris Pyro, and Devil's Reject were ring crew back in the day, like even before they wrestled. I think I was Dew's first match ever. Devil's Reject's first match ever. We used Creeper. I might have been maybe his first opponent ever. Those guys just made wrestling so much fun, man. It was just such like that atmosphere and everything was just wonderful.
Do you ever work any names they brought in?
George was going to book me against Kamala. Kamala didn't show.
Well, I meant in Yankee Pro.
Oh, to show no, they didn't have me. No, I wasn't up there yet. My biggest match was probably against the Power Company. I teamed up with Terry Thomas. If you count them as a name, I wouldn't necessarily count them as a name.
Yeah,
But
well, they were in World WCW and stuff
that's
like
right.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then yeah, that'd probably be it. That'd probably be the closest. I feuded a bit with Reverend Redemption locally. That was a big deal to me. He interrupted me in the. That's actually one of my favorite things. Two of my favorite Yankee Pro times, just to break it up a little more specifically. That particular one, I got interrupted. I was doing this gimmick where I was like Crash Holly, like I'm bigger than you. I'm 7 feet tall, 500 pounds, and I would say I'm the biggest guy in wrestling and all that. They'd send out two cruiserweights, and I would crush them in the ring, huge squash match. But one time I do that, and all of a sudden Michael Myers' Halloween theme comes on. The lights go out, and Reverend Redemption comes out to come and get me. That was a real goosebumps moment. That was at the PAL hall. Another time when I wrestled Brickhouse Baker at the PAL hall, that was probably the closest thing to making it for me, I'd say, because that was just like, I'm wrestling Brickhouse Baker at the PAL hall right now, man. That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing for a local kid. I started saying I was from New Bedford. I used to say I was from Oakland. But when I was in New Bedford, Bobby Biggens, Brickhouse Baker, man, that was big. My favorite match, though, I teamed up with Stryker. We faced off against Moko, Mighty Moko, and Majors, Mike Majors. It was when those two started feuding. Moko teamed up with Majors, and he said, "I have a big surprise for you." And then I came out, and the crowd was red hot that night. I signed my first autographs ever that night. It was pretty cool. They put me out at intermission. We had a really hot crowd. That's probably my favorite match, at least for Yankee.
I was going to ask you about the PAL hall. Any special memories or thoughts on the PAL hall?
That's like a holy mecca right there for me, man. I would get very emotional walking in there because it would just bring back. I mean, I was at Joe Eugenio's retirement party. That's how in I was with those guys. Like when we were, all the people that mattered were at that party. We partied there. We cried, sweat. I mean, the crowd's there. It's such a beautiful venue.
Yeah,
I mean, you walk out and you almost feel important. Like it's almost like, I don't remember what it was called, but where Monday Night Raw used to take place in New York City, like when it was early on. It had like a theater vibe to it.
Yeah.
And you just felt like something in there. It was something really important to us at that time. I don't think anybody, even the acts that came through. I remember Jonah, the Tough Enough Jonah. He was just complete like ego trip when he was there, but he even was touched by that place a little. I think like watching him there, he was just like, wow, this is a pretty cool venue. Simon Diamond and Don Marie were another two that were really sick, really awesome, amazing people. They didn't big league us or anything. People like that really appreciated that type of venue.
Was there anybody you met backstage there that was really like awe-inspiring to you or really a big deal?
Tony Atlas. And I don't believe it was at that location. I started doing
but just in Yankee Pro altogether, I mean.
Oh, Yankee Pro altogether, man. I think I got closest to Nick Steele there. I started sitting near him when Mikey B started kind of moving up a little, and it wasn't because of Mikey B, but he got pulled away more than just sitting back there because he started getting involved. He's people knew the potential of him. So I kind of latched on to Nick Steele and Frankie Vane. Nick Steele to us was kind of larger than life because he worked with us quite physically, like showed us what was up in that ring, kind of like a Stu Hart like style. A lot of tough love, but man, did that guy really care that we learned what we were doing. Aside from that, I'd say Tony Atlas. When he knew my name, that was cool. He used to say, "What's up, big kid?" And one time he called me Biggens, and I said, "You know my name?" And he laughed at me and said, "We've been working in the same locker room for 3 months. Of course I know your name." But it was pretty cool. That was a moment where I was really blown away. He's a big guy, man.
Oh, Atlas?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big guy. I know there's a lot of stories about him. I don't really know a lot, but hell of a freaking name and a hell of a presence about him.
You were talking about the gimmick where you were, oh, I'm bigger than life, big the Crash Holly thing. Is that where the Biggens name comes from, or was it from
Uh,
somewhere else?
Biggens was originally a taunting name. My first name used to be Deranged. I was a hardcore backyard wrestler. I really did some crazy shit with some ladders. I was a ladder guy. And being big in ladders together, that's gets a lot of people's attention. So I changed my name to Rage. And then I went to RDW and Yankee Pro. There was a Rage there and a Rage in Yankee Pro as well. And this kid named Lance Altman, who I can thank to this day for me, him and Kyle Hebert are best friends. Ruckus from EOS. He was a big guy for RDW. He was the brains. Like he booked everything there. He's literally a genius. He really is. He's a genius. He said, "What's up with this Biggens kid?" And I didn't have a name. I was going to call myself Bobby Braun when I got there. And I said, call me Bobby Biggens from Oakland, California. And that's where it came from.
Any memories that you haven't covered on Mikey B in Yankee Pro?
Oh,
I know
man.
you've mentioned a couple times, but anything that's happened there, or any funny stories that you haven't actually
He's
covered
not
on
little
Mikey B?
anymore. Like I can't talk shit on him because he's freaking twice my size now. I remember this skinny, smiling. I was at his first training ever. It was my first training ever at Yankee Pro, but his very, very first training, I was there in the ring with him. And just smiling, sparkle-eyed kid who would let anyone do anything to him. I used to do the Vader avalanche to him every single practice. He loved it. He just would go Biggens, do the avalanche. And I'd throw him off the ropes and hit him with an avalanche over and over and over. He loved it. He just would love it. He'd show up Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Sundays, Sweet Scott Ashworth did private training for people that just had to wrestle on the weekend. I was too busy partying with some of my older RDW friends to go there on Sundays, but I was there every Tuesday and Thursday. If that kid didn't take every bump, every single call, never complained, never said anything, that's Mikey B, man. That's what I remember about him. He was just this happy, brilliant kid who just so proud to be in that ring, that crazy ring with all the old sweat, and the turnbuckles weren't even, the ropes killed your back. Like he was so happy in that ring. He would let me throw him clear across the ring over and over again. He's a Biggens, throw me across the ring. Thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And it's pretty cool, like, because I thought it was the greatest thing in the world too. We were both loving wrestling. That's what I remember about him.
Do you remember the Dancing Devil, Damian Houston?
I remember the name, yeah. That was in NEWA though, correct?
No, that was in Yankee Pro. He wrestled more South Coast, I think.
Am I thinking of Damian Darkside?
No, Damian Houston.
Am I thinking of Darkside? Was that
Yeah,
a guy
you're thinking of Darkside.
Yeah.
You're thinking of the big guy.
Yep,
This is a skinny kid, young kid. He had blue tipped hair. He used to come down dancing and stuff.
They kept SCCW and Yankee Pro pretty separate, unless it was like a big.
They did some
super
joint
show.
shows together and stuff at times. I just didn't know if he did a crossover.
Damian Houston, I know the name for sure, but I was thinking Damian Darkside, full transparency.
Yeah.
I do definitely remember that name.
Okay, I just didn't know if you know me. He ended up passing away years ago and stuff. So
Oh man,
a lot of people remembered him. He was real character that if you knew him, most people had a memory of him. So I figured I'd ask.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Yeah. I do remember Stevie Sky. Stevie Sky was this really special cruiserweight kid that passed away while we were wrestling. That was really devastating. He was really close to us. He was a great kid. But I think that's who I remember from that. SCCW was, like I said, they treated us kind of separately for the most part. But yeah, they did some of the super shows though. The super shows were big, but I wish I did. I don't remember them 100%. But then again, man, I'm a cannabis expert. I used to take chair shots for a living. So
what about Johnny Armadillo?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember him.
Not Frankie, Johnny.
Well, who's Johnny then? Because I'm
Johnny
thinking
Curtis.
Oh, okay. Well, listen.
Before he was Johnny Curtis, he was Johnny Armadillo.
I remember him through Kyle Hebert. He wrestled him early in his career. And I used to watch their tape over and over. He wrestled for another promotion, though, a lot. I want to say I don't know if it was Chaotic though. Was he in Chaotic as well?
Oh, this is Fandango.
Yeah, Fandango.
Yeah.
He went on all over the place though. I know that because he
Yeah.
wasn't at Yankee while I was there.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, he might have been right before. I think didn't he used to work a lot with Gino and those guys?
In NEWA? No, I remember him in Yankee Pro.
Yeah, did he work with Gino Giovanni while he was in a Yankee Pro though, like early on when they were New
Yeah,
England
he worked
wrestling even?
there, but I
Yeah,
remember him there because he was there with Suicidal Silver and stuff. I remember him working Suicidal Silver a few times.
that was right before I started, I think.
It must have been like right before because I have
There
him
was
on
this little,
film.
yeah. There was this little line right there. It was like there's this new era group that came out of school, and then they had all the people that went with Bobby. Like Bobby Cruz wasn't there when I got there; he had just left.
Oh yeah, yeah, because he
So,
went to that UWF when Bobby Cruz started the UWF. He was
yeah,
there too, so he probably left with him. You're right.
I missed those guys. They weren't even at
Okay.
training when I was there, so like we got put. I
Damian
think that's
Houston
why,
was with him too. He went to the UWF with him, so you probably just missed him too.
that's probably why I don't. I know the name though. I definitely know
Okay.
the name. I just couldn't. I don't like. I'm not full of shit as much as I'm full of shit. You know what I mean?
No, that explains it. That explains it. Bobby Cruz left with them, and that's right when you started. There's a line there.
Bobby Cruz, I missed out on him, man. I think we would have gotten along very well. I was just everyone's always told me I was very easy to work with. Not very expendable, but you know what I mean? Like I could just, anybody, I'd do anything, work anything. I think Bobby Cruz definitely we could have benefited from each other a little bit, but I was a young guy. I was enjoying my spot there, but yeah, I felt bad. Gino Giovanni too, man. I wish I could have worked with him. Locally, he is a superstar. Like, let's just be real. And I think we could have had a lot of good banter together. It would have been a fun time.
Which is pretty crazy for a guy his size. He got really, really over for a guy his size.
His mouth, man.
Right.
He could get you so fired up, man. He just knew how to read people. Yeah, I think he didn't ever reach the heights he could have made. He has the it factor. And I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't like to say that, but whatever it was, like he could have easily done more.
You know what I always wanted to see was a feud with him with a guy, like managing or tagging with a guy, and Pat Piper with a guy going against each other. Could you imagine them two in a talking battle?
That'd be epic, man. Anything with them, either of them wouldn't be bad, man. And there's been, Sean Candido doesn't get a lot of love. A superstar, Sean Candido, on his mic skills. He was really helpful. He was like a big brother type. Like he gave us a lot of shit, but he taught us a lot of shit too, man. And he really, really cared about, at least in my case, developing. Like he tried to develop me when he was backstage. So I got to thank him for that. But that was another guy who was really good at getting heat, man. He could really piss that crowd off really quick. And that's an art. Like not everyone has that. You talk about getting commentary. That's somebody you should ask. Not to mention he's got a very distinguished voice. Like his voice is unique. You mix him with like a baby face commentator and you got it. You can get some commentary going.
I don't know him. And I was thinking somebody that was in NEWA should probably do it all around it, but it really wouldn't matter as long as they were willing to do it. But
yeah. I mean, Kevin Thomas, always the voice of NEWA. I don't know how busy or what he's pretty retired now for the most part.
He wouldn't even do an interview. He said he couldn't do an interview because of a contract with HBO or something, he told me.
Oh, then he's got something going on. So congrats to him. I hope, hopefully it's worth it. Good deal. He's done some really interesting stuff from what I've heard.
Right. Hey, that's what I thought. So I was like, oh, because he's been traveling and all kinds of stuff from what I see on his Facebook.
Oh man, it's amazing though, man. The things you learn in the locker room. Like, I'll be honest, my first branch out from NEWA was to International Wrestling Cartel in Pittsburgh. I made an ass of myself. It was right when WCW and ECW disbanded. This guy Norm, who runs IWC, I don't know his last name. He said somebody vouched for me at the show, and I think it was his name, Edward Ecstasy, had saw me work a show and said, Norm, this kid's pretty good. Like, you should give him a tryout. And so I show up to the show. I meet Chris Candido, CM Punk, AJ Styles, Jerry Lynn. I'm giving Norm shit 5 minutes prior, going, dude, you had me come all the way over here to try out. Like, what gives? He said, just relax, hang out for a little while. So I helped with the ring crew and go in the back, just because I couldn't just stand there. And that's who I see. CM Punk's roasting me because I'm wearing Celtics gear from head to toe. He's like, look at this, Mark. AJ Styles was super nice. But I mean, I was like, Norm, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, like, you had everybody and their mother on this card. Like, I'm so sorry. He's like, this is a big show, kid. I still want to see you. But it was like, I made an ass of myself my first 5 minutes away from New England.
Did you work many shows outside of Yankee Pro? Yankee Pro was your first independent, right? Besides the backyard stuff, basically.
Oh yeah, Yankee and NEWA is pretty much it. But a lot of shows, George was heavily ambitious, as you know. I mean, we had shows every week. I missed a little bit towards the end of my career. It had to do with the family stuff I mentioned, pretty heavy stuff. It required a lot of attention. So, but aside from that, man, I was working sometimes 2 shows a weekend.
And you explained how you got into NEWA. George showed up at the Yankee Pro locker room and asked you guys about working outside.
Yeah. He was very flattering. Yankee was really good about not telling you you're good, because then you're going to start costing money and headaches and promoting. So they kept us pretty humble. And I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way, but it was definitely because, you create egos and then you got problems. But when he came up, I was like, dude, you're good. Like, I was pretty blown away. I'd never heard that. I've wanted to hear that my whole time, because shit, wrestling's my entire existence. But, since I was a kid. So it was just another promotion wanting me, a newbie wanting me, somebody I'd never met that said, hey, we can bring you up close to Boston. That's kind of the dream. Boston's the big show for people where I'm from, or, Worcester, maybe somewhere big, Providence, somewhere around there. And this guy's like, hey, you're good. You want to come wrestle for me? And I was pretty humbled by that. I guess it pumped me up. So it was a pretty big deal. And I didn't know George was going to be as big of a deal as he was now, but just to be associated with somebody like that, or to be told you were good at one time, at least at that moment, he thought something of me. And that's pretty flattering.
I'm not sure exactly when you came in. When I first stepped into NEWA, you were there, but I think it might have been your debut. The first time I seen you, you did an interview with Paul Lombardi, and then you did a handicap match against the Zykos.
Oh yeah. I remember that. They were doing a lot of handicap matches with me, and Yankee as well. That was like my whole thing. I think I like them too. It really, like, it's good for your character. The crowd 2 versus 1's interesting. I call it the sideshow, if you will, but I'm not going to necessarily tell you all the terms exactly like they are, but just, that was really cool. That was also flattering, for him to think of me like that, the let me do my big guy gimmick for him.
Yeah, that's a good push, bringing you in and having you squash, 2 people.
Yeah, man. It's fun. And probably one of my favorite style of matches. It gives some of the smaller guys a chance too. When I say smaller, I mean by stature. A lot of cruiserweights at Yankee, they had to have special cruiserweight types events for them. There'd be a lot of guys that weren't going to be on a show, or they had to pick and choose. So me doing handicap matches was cool, because it gave an extra guy another shot to wrestle in front of someone.
I'm just looking through match listings at NEWA. I got the match listings in front of me. He was doing battle royals too, and he was having you look good in battle royals too. Maybe not winning, but you were staying in there for a while till like the ends of them.
Without question. My first battle royal was for the NEWA title, and I went through the middle rope. And John Fear won, and I protested at the next show, and we became a feud. John Fear's the stiffest bastard I've ever worked in my life. He knocked me out more than one occasion in the ring. I was knocked unconscious, kicking me in the chest, face. He showed no, I don't know if it was his training, but I mean, he would just straight up hit you as hard as he could, which is dangerous. You know, I'm a big guy too, and the receipt wouldn't have been exactly very fun for anybody. But I was very professional about it. But I mean, he knocked me unconscious multiple times wrestling him. I see that timer making you nervous up there. Oh, I lost your sound.
I said you could see that too. It
Yeah,
says 10
don't worry
minutes
about
again.
it. We'll send another invite.
We got 10 minutes, so we'll go with another 9 minutes and then we'll reset it again. What a pain in the ass. I'll upgrade after this interview. I'll do something.
Look, before you spend money though, look into that Google Meets. It's the same thing. It's free. It automatically fixes your camera lighting and all that for you. I use it for, I'm a recruiter, by the way. That's my background. I'm a hiring person. That's what I've done most of my career. So I know quite a bit about like face-to-faces and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Do you use Google Meets for that stuff?
I do. I actually learned it from my last cannabis company I was working for. It's free. You just use your calendar. It's a calendar invite, Google Calendar. You send it to their email address, and there's an option that says use Google Meets. They click the link. It opens right up on your webcam. You can use it on your phone or your webcam. It's awesome. It's clear. It actually does everything for you digitally too. Like it would make like your light would be like the way it's optimum. You know what I mean?
Really? And you can record it all?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're using to record. I don't know that 100%. I'd have to imagine it. I would have to imagine that it does though. I think it saves the videos to a Google Drive, your Google Drive account is how I think it would do. But you do have to set it up and all that. But I would go ahead and mess with that. Just see if
Yeah, I'll
it's
have to play with it. I've just used Zoom because it's been the easiest thing and it's worked. But I mean, it isn't great. Zoom isn't great, but I think it's better than Facebook Messenger or whatever.
Oh, Facebook Messenger, and who knows what they're going to attach on their shit. And you know what I mean?
So let's get into some NEWA stories and memories.
Yeah. I think for some reason, I'm not really sure why the Logan brothers come to mind. They were really interesting. First of all, they're twins, which that's pretty cool in wrestling. They had a lot of feuds with the Score early on. These were young kids. I want to say they were in Chaotic Development first before they came over. But I'll say, like, out of that whole group of people, they stand out to me. They were really cool people, very popular, very good heat. They had another name too. I want to say they had different gimmicks as well. Like one of them was a jester or something like that.
The Freaks of Nature.
Something like, yeah, there you go, Freaks of Nature. And they really stood out to me, man. They were great talent, great kids. I think like out of the whole group of people, they had some major potential to do a lot. I don't know really what they ended up doing. I know one of them was a wrestling coach now. I'm not really sure what they do. But I think they definitely had a shot to make it back in the day out of like the undercard people. Mighty Minnie, I remember as well too. He had the exact same persona inside and outside the locker room, to us at least, the Yankee kids. And like I said, I think there was a bit of a riff when we first got there. Our backgrounds and training, the way we were brought up, I guess, in wrestling, they had a little more freedom in Chaotic, and that might just be my opinion. I don't know them. Like I said, they weren't interested in Bobby Biggens. But the Yankee Pro, like we were pretty taught to like be a little more modest, a little more old school, locker room respect kind of thing, where Chaotic came through like they were the shit. You know what I mean? I got that vibe a lot. And when that first happened, there was an obvious rift there. And I think George did a good job navigating that. He had a lot of pressure from guys like Dan Freitas in the Score. He would very much pressure George to do things that he thought was good. And then he'd have the guys from, the Chaotic crew, like Rich Palladino. Is that his name? Palladino? Rich. Those guys would kind of talk to George too and kind of tell him stuff from their side. We saw a lot of that in the background.
Palladino was the ring announcer for
yeah. He was at quite a few shows. I remember that, and I remember him talking backstage a lot with George, and it was almost like he was their business agent, and the Score was like our business agent.
Yeah, and the score used to book for Yankee Pro, right?
I know Guy Medeiros did. Guy was in fact, we had beef with each other at Yankee. He didn't book me for like a week or two. I don't remember what it was about, and I remember Joe was pretty upset about it. Like he was like, "Why isn't Biggens working?" Like then I was back on the shows, but Guy, I kind of followed Guy, and I followed the score guys, mostly Brian. I got along with Brian Nunes the most. He was in the score as well. I always forget which one's GED or SAT and all that. You know what I mean? But I know their real names. But Brian was like the original tag team partner with Teddy Goods back in the day. So that was like the original score. Then he teamed with Dan Freitas for a long time.
Oh,
But
Teddy Goods was in there first. GED
originally, he was
first?
Brian's tag partner. I want to say he's original score. That was GED and SAT, I think they were called. And Brian's like one of the best hearted people. He's like a a Lance Silva guy. He just is a big hearted, really great guy that kind of protected us as much as he could. I can't say the same about Guy and Dan. I'm not going to talk shit on them, but they weren't that same. You know, they kind of did their own thing. Again, though, Teddy Goods, um, never phony, always authentic, whether it was popular or not. One of the best people I've ever met in wrestling in and out of the ring. Um, I can't say enough good about him. I'm like, I've never been so happy to see somebody make it in my life, just because I just know what it means to him, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him for an interview. He said he'd do one, but he's so busy, man. It's hard to get him to
I
sit
can't
down and
even
do
get him
one.
to sell me toys. I've asked for Beetlejuice toys at least 43 times because I have a Beetlejuice room here. I'm in my new house and can't get it. It just won't happen. I can go on eBay. I know I can go on eBay and get it or whatever, but why the hell would I do that when I can support him? You know?
Did you
But
see Ethan Page did a he toy vlog and he did
I
his
did.
store?
Yeah. And that store is sick, by the way. If I can imagine you're a bit of a toy geek yourself, like the 80s, 90s gimmicks, and
I don't collect, but I like watching the stuff and seeing the things.
it's cool. I mean, it brings you back to a time when things were simple and a little more enjoyable. You know, we all have those things that gave us comfort growing up.
I have my Road Warriors ones from when I was a kid. That's about it. They sit in the closet on the shelf.
I'm just gonna put them right on my wall in that room. I have a Beetlejuice room. It's actually my bedroom, but it's the Beetlejuice room, and it looks very Beetlejuicy. I guess I don't know how else to describe it. But me and my wife, like, we're huge Tim Burton people, and Beetlejuice is like our shit. Like, we love it. So it's that room's the Beetlejuice room, and I want Teddy Goods the toys that his store can supply my room that I know I can get on eBay. But Teddy Goods, if you're watching this, get me my Beetlejuice toys.
I'll send it to him.
I hope you do. I hope you do. I love that kid though, man. I'm so proud of him, dude. He's just a good dude. I don't know what else to say. I really appreciate genuinely good people. In wrestling, you got real life villains and real life heroes. He's one of the absolute heroes, and always stands his ground and always believes in what he's doing. Which, you know, even like I said, he doesn't care if it's popular. He doesn't care what it does. He's very he's a solid dude.
Yeah, he seems that he did a promo for me and said he would and he did it. And most people don't. A lot of people say they'll do the promo and I don't get them, and he did it. And he says he'll do this interview, and I think he will once he has time.
Oh yeah, AEW and WWE are knocking on his door now every week. So you know, God bless him.
Hello, wrestling fans. This is Brickhouse Baker, 2008 New England Hall of Famer. I need you people to do me a favor. I need you to go to Chops Video and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Again, that's Chops Videos. Go check this out because this guy's got some really good stuff from back in the day. Peace out. I am the Underground King, SWB, New England Hall of Famer, Tesla Strength founder and head coach. Looking for classic wrestling videos featuring New England Hall of Famers and legends? Check out Chops Videos on YouTube.
Gorgeous, and I am a Primal Conflict Wrestling super fan.
I mean, how could you not want to see Jamie Payne and Nemesis? Oh my God.
Have you ever taken a chair shot before? Now, I had never taken a chair shot before. But I'm not going to say that I never took a chair shot before.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Primal Conflict Television. My name is Studley Steve Stein.
I don't think there has been an indie promotion since then that had that loyal fan base that Primal had.
Following conflict.
You don't wanna be down and like I need you around. You sticking me up and I don't wanna be stuck. Without a moment to spare, it's like I'm already there when you need me. You're right here, I'm ready to go. Kinda like a rematch, you think it might be the passion. Got me ready to fight, I got it right on my gut. Just another distraction, try to make a reaction. Got me out of my sight, and so I'm kicking them shut. You be all on my way when I got something to say. And you ain't got the same knock marks in your veins. And I will do it again, but I won't do it alone. As it be living like a hurricane, you leaving your home. And I be giving it up, and I ain't making the time. When you be having these delusions in your mind. And we be cutting you off, but you ain't helping yourself. And I'm just thinking about the people you got living in hell. It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest to me. It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest of me.
You're gonna get it, but I won't let it be. A faded memory, Jack Dawn's the enemy. A roll call, ready for the remedy. A burst of energy, secretly sending me on an excursion. My vision blurs when I'm double-fisted, twisted, demented. Jammed them off some skunk, scented, invented a new type of pattern. Then I add in a dose. I keep my eyes open like ghosts for most. It's an alternative escape. No strings attached, avoid the red tape. And the blue lights, I'm up with the kites. Now, the sound of a lighter strikes, I see it glowing in my direction. Pause for the cause like now, resurrection. Took place and I fell with my people like a living in hell.
It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest of me. It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest of me.
I hit something else.
It's the same damn color I bleed. They nothing more to you than the rest of me.
You know, on the one hand, they were so cool to a fan that, you know, they didn't have to be, and they were. But at the same time, it was just that, you know, we don't give a shit attitude. We just don't, you know, we do what we want when we want. And that, you know, to me, that was just the coolest thing.